Hi there and welcome. This is Sharon from Penguin Palace and I'm glad you're here. Today I'll be showing you a simple formula which I personally find really helpful whenever I need to create a quick and simple card. And that involves 3 easy steps. So without further ado, let's get started. The first thing is to create a colorful geometric background. For my card, I'll be using the Hello Sunshine Stencil 360. In the past, I've showcased cards that I've created using both stencils from the set. But in today's example, I'll be using only the smallest stencil from this set. To begin, I cut out a panel of size 5 inches by 3 3/4 using the largest die from the cross-stitched and dots small rectangle overlays. Now instead of using one of the paper guides from the tool to center my cardstock, I'm going to just freely place it where I want it to be. So for this card, I wanted to do 3 circular geometric patterns that are randomly positioned. I wanted the first one to go in the corner, so I've placed the panel like this. And I'm just using 2 pieces of tape to secure my guide ring. So for my inking, I'm alternating between spun sugar and picked raspberry, and I'm using a 15-degree turning interval on my stencil. So here you can see me lining up the alignment marker to the solid squares. And you can see me skipping the outline squares for now, as I'll be using picked raspberry for those turns. And now I'm lining up the marker to the outline squares and using picked raspberry for inking. Now I'm cleaning my stencil and I want to show you a useful tip that you can keep in mind when using some of the 360 stencils. So I'm going to flip my stencil to the other side and use this side for inking. And by doing this, I'm adding a different looking layer onto my design and creating more interest to the pattern with more colors. Although this trick might not work on every stencil that you own, since if your stencil is symmetrical, then flipping it will not give you any different result. But this is a neat trick that would work wonderfully sometimes, so I do encourage you to try it out. So using the same principle as before, I used shaded lilac on the solid squares turns and wilted violet on the outline square turns to complete this pattern. So as you can see, I could have just left it with 2 colors where the pattern is going in one direction, but I do think that the second layer gives it a little bit more depth. So I went on and did 2 more circular patterns, again using all the same principles as before. I did the second one offset to one side, and I did the third one on the bottom right hand corner. So after completing the background, step 2 is to choose a bold or scripty sentiment as the focal point. I'm taking an image from Words from the Heart Chapter 1 stamp set and silver heat embossing it directly onto my card. For a color matching back panel, I took the largest die from the cross-stitched and dots large rectangle overlays and die cut a standard A2 size panel using our Fashion Week heavyweight cardstock. And now the final step, step 3, is to add a touch of sparkly embellishment to my project. And then I use some double-sided adhesive on my card and adhere that onto the back panel, and gluing the whole thing down onto my card base. And that completes my card. I really hope you enjoyed today's 3-step method that I used. It's really simple to do and it will work on cards for different occasions, and I do hope that this card will inspire you to create. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in my next video.